Western Highlands election preparations on track. Potape appeals to warlords to comply with surrender dates. And Malalaua station underwater from floods.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Friday's news. Western Highlands Provincial Election Manager Philip Telapi says the Commission is preparing for the coming national election. This is in terms of data collection in the province and the compiling of common role updates. The only issue is the delay in the payment of allowances for volunteers who updated the common role and data collection.
Telapi said Western Highlands Province have an estimated eligible voters of 380,000 people for the 2017 national election. He said in 2012, there were an estimated 360,000 eligible voters. The electoral office in Western Highlands is employing volunteer staffs to work day and night in entering and compiling data and information before the coming election.
So now all the forms have been logged so that we don't add more than that 15%. So when the roll comes out, it will be the 2012 figures plus the 15% and not more.
Telapi said the electoral office has identified security errors from the past elections and will try to work towards success this year. The office is in discussion with police and other disciplinary forces to work together to have a trouble-free and fair election.
We are expecting security problems here, but then we are looking into it. We have areas identified, those security risk areas we have identified. We are working closely with the police and those national intelligence officers to see which areas have been security risk areas that we are controlling.
Telapi also told EMTV News that the electoral office is still with the 1,000 kina nomination fee until it is amended to pay 10,000 kina. Meanwhile, the opening of writs is set to be on the 28th of April this year. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News, Mount Hagen.
Hela Governor Francis Potape is appealing to warlords and individuals in Hela to conform with the dates announced by the Hela provincial government and joint forces to surrender unlicensed firearms. Governor Potape made this statement before the start of the program, which will begin in Hulia on the 13th of February.
It's nearly a month since the government sanctioned the call-out operation in Hela province. Couple of gun surrender programs have eventuated, however, authorities believe there are more unlicensed high-powered guns in communities. Hela Governor Francis Potape says all these firearms must be handed to authorities on the dates announced recently.
Official deadlines for various warlords to come together and sign peace agreements, and also for people who have weapons to surrender their weapons on those deadlines.
The recent announcement by the Hela Provincial Government, Law and Order Committee and Joint Forces will see Hulia LLG be the first on the 13th, followed by South Koroba, Ayapuga, Magarima, Como, North Koroba, Tebi, Tagali, Kopiagu and Beneria.
On the 27th of February will be the day of destruction of all the weapons that they have collected so far. And on the 28th will be the handover and the takeover of the operations commander.
The call-out operation will go into its second phase with a ceremony on the 28th, signifying the end of the first phase.
If you've missed those official dates, it's still open. You have till 28th of February to give us a call, and we can arrange for your surrender of the illegal firearms, and then we can record that.
Despite the progress of the call-out, slow funding from the Chief Secretary's office has been another hiccup in the operation. However, the Hela provincial government allocated an additional 2 million kina to the call-out operation in its 2017 budget. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
Kerama Coronation Secondary opened a new 6-block classroom this week. This learning facility will accommodate 4 classes, including the school's pioneer grade 12 students. It was built at a cost of 3.6 million kina under PSIP grants allocated by Governor Havila Kavo for the school's infrastructure development. Eric Harupma with this report.
All buildings have deteriorated.
Acting Principal Hilary Ape told invited guests and students during the classroom opening ceremony that the school is the oldest in the province and all of its infrastructures has deteriorated. He said the school was recently elevated to a secondary school and this infrastructure will help to teach students and also graduate its pioneer grade 12s at the end of this academic year.
2017. Building is to be opened today, this year, so that this pioneer grade 12s will use that classroom and graduate out from that brand new classroom.
Board of Management Chairman Eddie Solomon said this facility was a success for the school and the province in achieving the government's education target enshrined in Vision 2050. He said education is a fundamental pillar for human resource development in the province, of which the government has been investing a lot in infrastructure development.
Education and education alone holds the progress in developments of the province and Papua New Guinea as a nation.
PNG Chairman Michael Maravilla challenged students and teachers to work together in achieving an academic excellence for the school.
In spite of the difficulties of the education facilities, the infrastructure in this school, I am very pleased to note from the results produced that in the subject of English, there were 16 distinguished given to our students.
This facility was built by contractor Pen Trade under the Gulf Province PSIP funding of 3.6 million kina donated by Governor Havila Kavo.
Many of our facilities are as they are because an administrator wants to be a banker. He wants to bank the money. He wants to know where the money is coming out. He wants to follow that money to the bank. He wants to see where the money is deposited. And he also wants to see how that money is going to be distributed. That is the problem why all these facilities are not completed. Allow the carpenters to do the work. Allow the people with technical skills, technical knowledge, technical experience to share your burden.
Also selected students were given study materials and furniture for the new classroom.
Accountable form, which teachers will use to reissue in each class. Many a times, we have management of the school go out and purchase the materials now.
Following the opening, students were allowed entry into the new classroom to assemble their study furnitures.
I think it's first of its kind in Gulf Province and I'm very happy and excited for the help and assistance that came into our schools. And I believe that this is the step to forward. It's a step ahead that this school will be recognized in another level.
The building the 6th block itself is it's a gift, I would say, to the students and us, the teachers, because we have taught in these very rundown classrooms for so many years.
Students took classes in the new classroom yesterday. Eric Harupma, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, the Malalaua station in the Gulf province has been underwater, leaving people distraught after their homes were flooded and food gardens destroyed. This comes following continuous rainfall in the area for months. Public servants and villagers have been affected by the impact of this harsh condition.
Malalaua station has been underwater for months after continuous rainfall up in the mountains, causing floods to sweep through the area. Residents living on low steel post houses lost properties to the floods, with food gardens destroyed and daily activities affected.
Affecting land em kainu sol banana or kaigeblo or locally we plus a growing land warasa kamanta gorang em affecting mogra pinis. Now you can look backside the house or go leaf go yellow stuff em cosplay this flat sol.
Among those affected was Malalaua School Inspector Kaya Ray Eka, who told EMTV about the challenges with this harsh climatic condition.
Most times, like the way I'm standing, we dress in rags and then move up to the store. When we want to go to work, we just dressed up in sportswear or t-shirts and go on the road, come on the road where the high ground is, changed, and then we go to work.
Residents are calling for an immediate intervention from the government.
I'm appealing to the government of the day to consider and help our people, because it will affect them. After I'm dry now, finish. All the garden will down. Everybody will look for food to survive, and it will also affect the coastal areas too. We are living in the station, but when you go down to Movewe and other villages like Gobutai, it's also affected.
Erika Rupma, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. A new homeowner was glad to be handed the keys to his new home built under the Gobutai Estate project in the nation's capital. The Gobutai Estate project is a joint venture partnership between the National Housing Estate Limited and Berkeley Capital. The joint venture comes under the government's public-private partnership policy.
The 35 million kina Gobutai Estate housing project started in 2015. Once complete, the estate will comprise 48 Australian standard-built houses with sale prices ranging between 550 to 600,000 kina land house package. Most of the houses have been completed and sold. Housing Minister Paul Ezekiel said owning a decent home is a lifelong dream and a struggle for many Papua New Guineans. He said the handing over of keys occasion was a testimony of the hard work and challenges that all the key stakeholders have gone through to deliver these new houses.
Today, I am privileged and excited because I am honoring my government's commitment for the plight and struggle of many ordinary Papua New Guineans to own and live in a decent home.
NHEL is a commercial arm of the National Housing Commission. NHEL Executive Chairman Kevin Ahipum said projects like the Gobutai Estate are doing their bit to assist the government with its vision to house its growing population.
We would like to call on the government to assist in whatever way to allocate land to state agencies like us, the National Housing Estate, to assist other state agencies in their plans for home ownership scheme or houses for the company. We are here to assist. So we call on the government to secure land for and on our behalf, which will be at a reasonable rate so that debt is transferred onto the home buyers.
Homeowner Bernard Kipit was presented the keys to his houses and had only praise for the government's public-private partnership policy that's seeing results.
If it was just a private investor from overseas, maybe it would take some time, right? But it was a private investor from overseas teaming up with a government agency, all right? So that really convinced me that I made a decision on the spot and I paid my deposit, all right? And today, I'm not regretting, I think it's a real well.
Located within the Tokarara suburb in NCD, the Gobutai Estate occupies 3.2 hectares and has provided jobs for over 200 local workers. The project is expected to be completed this year. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
In the meantime, Minister for Housing and Urbanization Paul Ezekiel is concerned about barriers put on government-parked funds for first-time home buyers. Minister Ezekiel revealed that he's received complaints about the biggest lender with the custody of 200 million kina capital from the government parked to assist first-time home buyers. He is concerned that the bank is placing unnecessary barriers on Papua New Guineans having access to that funding.
Minister Ezekiel yesterday said he was concerned that the people's money provided for easy access for potential home buyers is now being unfairly dictated by the bank.
In recent times, I have received complaints about our biggest lender with the custody of 200 million capital from the government parked to assist first-time home buyers. I am concerned that the bank is placing unnecessary barriers to Papua New Guineans having access to that funding.
He said disgruntled potential home buyers have complained about the bank being selective about aligning with a preferred builder.
Even the bank's own staff have approached me after being denied lending access because they have opted for other builders not preferred by the bank. I challenge the bank to be fair and exercise more flexibility in their lending.
Minister Ezekiel said home buyers must be given all the options on the market to secure without any impediments from financial institutions as long as they meet the normal lending requirements. He said development partners of state agencies like Barclay Capital have given away huge concessions to become partners and engage in delivering services to our people, including the construction of new houses. Deli Waigeno, National, EMTV News.
The National Research Institute today reopened one of its iconic research buildings in Port Moresby. Renamed the Thomas Webster Research Building after former NRI Director Dr. Webster, it is part of major developments the Institute is undertaking towards fully developing PNG's first knowledge hub.
In a small but significant event held this morning, NRI staff and invited guests witnessed the opening of the refurbished research building. The building was opened by the son of the late Sir Henry Chow, who was a long-serving board chairman of the National Research Institute. The refurbished building is one of the major components of establishing the Knowledge Hub. The Knowledge Hub is basically a center for information where NRI is aiming to inquire, inform and influence effective public policies for nation building.
Today's event, the opening of the Thomas Webster Research Building, starts this long journey of refurbishing and modernizing our existing infrastructure and developing new infrastructure that will make the Knowledge Hub vision a reality.
In his speech, Dr. Webster said the dynamics of policy making have shifted over the years. He says local think tanks like the NRI have taken over a field that was once dominated by external multilateral agencies. He says the building is the laying foundation for the start of a new direction of NRI towards becoming PNG's own knowledge hub.
The building that got knocked down housed researchers and their work over the last 50 years or so. The new rejuvenated building, now named the Thomas Webster Research Building, should house researchers for the next 50 years. I look forward to the Thomas Webster Research Building hosting a hub of research activities that will contribute to that future endeavor of the PNG Knowledge Hub by inquiring, informing, and influencing the policy arena.
NRI researchers Logan Anau and Lucy Hamago shared similar sentiments.
It's an exciting experience to be part of something new as part of the Institute's development into the Knowledge Hub.
Seeing the new changes that is taking place here at the NRI campus has been a privilege to join an institution that has a great interest for the development of the country.
The total cost of the refurbished building was 1.2 million kina. Meanwhile, NRI is finalizing the architectural designs of the Sir Henry Chow building, which will be the signature building for the PNG Knowledge Hub. Stanley Over Jr., National, EMTV News.
Advancing quality collaborative e-learning accessible to all is Divine Word University's academic theme for this year. The university in Madang officially launched its 2017 academic year today for all its campuses around the country. DW President Professor Cecilia Nembo said the provision of technologies and enhanced learning opportunities is a proven success story for the university. Rachel Shise with this report.
This year's academic theme for the Divine Word University here in Madang is themed Advancing Quality Collaborative E-Learning Accessible to All. With regard to the theme, the university's president, Professor Cecilia Nembo, in her address to officially launch the academic year, said the provision of technology to enhance learning in 2016 is a success story and is expected to improve more this year.
The provision of technology enhanced learning opportunities is a proven success story. All the programs on offer at the main campus in Madang can potentially be offered in all other campuses. International partnerships for research experience through collaboration capacity of academic staff to conduct research.
Present at the ceremony was the Indonesian ambassador to PNG, Ronald Manik, who invited PNG students to electronically apply for degree and non-degree scholarships from the Indonesian government. This follows the signing of 11 Memorandum of Understandings between the PNG and Indonesian governments in 2013 that includes education.
I would like to take this opportunity to invite PNG students to apply for degree and non-degree scholarships from Indonesia government, which is managed online by the related ministries.
Rachel Shise, National, EMTV News, Madang.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3150 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3075, $0.4005 Australian dollars, $0.2864 euro, and 34.59 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold, coffee, and copra closed higher, while cocoa closed the day lower. Palm oil closed lower, while crude oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 118 points higher, the ASX is trading at 55 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 53 points lower. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. A school in the nation's capital wants the Education Department to be clear on the distribution of TFF components. Bora Bora Primary School chairman says they have only been receiving the administration component of the funds. The school has been running operations on the given funds to keep afloat, all the while it has deteriorating infrastructure that needs immediate attention.
Bora Bora Primary School is among other schools in the country that is in its second week of the academic year. School chairman Peter Pitt says while the school has been receiving its TFF funds over the years, it is yet to receive the other components. The school is also yet to receive its TFF funds for the 2017 school year.
TFF come triple components, administration or operational component, commodity component, and infrastructure component. Okay, and then at the same time, information too. Maybe like some money come through the school account. Operational component only. So the infrastructure component and the commodity component. No come to school account. Representative belong NCD Education Division. Come clearing me belong some nogat. All this belong triple components all gada. Is a come to school. So it is now up to the school board to do up a budget. Now spending this money, this triple component were 40%. We go along operational, 30% we go along infrastructure, and 30% they go along commodity component.
The school has been focusing on education delivery that it cannot cater for infrastructure development, which is urgently needed in the school. Since the introduction of the TFF policy, the school has experienced increased enrollment. While this means more children in the area receive education, the school's infrastructures are not enough to cater for all students.
We start running. We are into the second week. Now, whatever is left over from last year, now we play starting school yet now. As we can see while I'm talking, we got rundown buildings, we got ablution block, we got school fence walking, we got staff houses, Bora Bora Primary School, we got 38 staff. Out of the 38 staff, we got 1+ staff house, that's all.
When it comes to infrastructure-wise, especially the classrooms, those classrooms are not large enough to contain that number. And actually there's overcrowding in the classrooms, and it becomes a burden for both students and teachers, and it's very much affecting students' learning because they are not able to be comfortably seated in the classroom. They need a lot of space in the classrooms to move about and let learning take place when they are comfortable. But
meanwhile, Bora Bora Primary School is the first school in NCD to receive its teaching and learning material starter kits for the 2017 school year. Funding for the starter kits came from last year's TFF funds. Marilyn Diaukatam, National EMTV News.
The Markham Road Primary School in Lae received only 196,000 kina last year. This was 40% of the tuition fee-free funds. The school's headmaster Sam Nalong said the school was supposed to receive 450,000 kina in total, but it didn't. The school is still owed 254,000 kina for infrastructure, teaching and learning materials from last year, and the TFF funds for this year.
Markham Road Primary School in Lae is one of the biggest schools with a population of more than 2,000 students. The school's annual budget used to be 800,000 kina before the introduction of the tuition fee-free policy. In 2015, the school received its full TFF payment of 450,000 kina. Last year, the school received only 196,000 kina, which is 254,000 kina less.
270 kina per head. When we calculate it, it's not even 270 for my school. So these are some of the things that they have to work with. The economists have to work out.
The headmaster for the school, Sam Nalong, said to date, the school has not received TFF for this year, as well as its outstanding 60% for infrastructure and teaching and learning materials. He had sought clarification with Lae District regarding the 30% for infrastructure, but was told that nothing was deposited into the district's account for the school.
Direct from the government to us in regard to the infrastructure, nothing. There's no instruction. So we can commit a contractor to build a classroom when we don't get the money, actual money. We need to have that. Even our district did not know anything about it.
This classroom at Markham Road Primary was built in 2015 when the school received its full TFF component of 450,000 kina in 2014. Christ the King Primary School in Lae also managed to build a duplex staff house and an elementary school with its full TFF payments in 2013. Since the delay and fall in the amount of TFF funds, many schools are facing hardships.
The TFF money or policy comes in, this gives us a lot of problems. We run into a lot of problems, especially with infrastructure.
Like Taraka Primary School, which is currently facing difficulties with the availability of space, Markham Road Primary School is currently in need of 3 more classrooms.
I think it needs to be reviewed. It needs to be reviewed. Put away this 60% or 30%, 30% on infrastructure, 30% on teaching and learning. Do away with that. Give us 100% subsidy and then we can manage it from that end.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lae.
There is a growing call for greater protection of Papua New Guinea's industry to respond to alleged unfair international competition. Chase Scoville from the Manufacturers Council of PNG told EMTV that many countries have used protectionism to foster their domestic industries, and he believes it's time for PNG to do the same. Leanne Jarari reports.
Papua New Guinea's industries need to be protected if the nation is to proceed on the path to full industrialization. This is according to several stakeholders in the manufacturing industry. Many have opined that the free trade ideology doesn't translate when transitioning a country from underdeveloped to full industrialization. Shay Scoville, Chief Executive Officer of the Manufacturing Council of PNG, says that amongst the Oceania countries, PNG is more liberalized than many countries it trades with. He went on to say that some form of protection is the only thing that can provide some equilibrium to the trading environment. Otherwise, local businesses are completely at a loss.
There's really been an absence of any intelligent discussion in Papua New Guinea around industry development, industry policy, and the role that tariffs have in that mix. So I'm an economist and I don't argue that out of the dozen or so economic tools that you have at your disposal to assist the industry, tariffs might be the least preferable. But what we need to acknowledge and be honest about is all but one of those revolve some form of direct or indirect subsidy. Right. Does our government have the capacity to put money directly into industry? They don't.
Leanne Jarari, National EMTV News.
Turning overseas, New Zealand Foreign Minister Mari Mekali has discussed broadening free trade with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi in Auckland. New Zealand was the first Western country to sign a free trade agreement with China in 2008, and China has since become New Zealand's largest goods export partner.
This year marks the 45th anniversary of the establishment of China-New Zealand diplomatic relations, and Macaulay advocated for a continued commitment to free trade.
While some regions in the world are looking inwards and debating the benefits of globalisation and free trade, it is no coincidence that a positive commitment to freer trade and greater economic cooperation has made this region, the Asia-Pacific region, a centre of world economic growth to the great benefit of our two countries.
China's foreign ministry said in a statement Wang met with New Zealand Prime Minister Bill English on Thursday, where they discussed launching negotiations to upgrade an existing bilateral free trade agreement and cooperate in sectors such as infrastructure, tourism and judicial enforcement.
When, despite our obvious differences of size and history, we signed our free trade agreement. And we can look back on excellent results. Two-way trade of $23 billion, a goal of reaching $30 billion by 2020, 70 direct flights a week between our two countries, underpinning tourism, education, business and family links.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry statement, however, did not say whether the two had discussed the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Pact. New Zealand and Australia have said they hope to salvage the TPP by encouraging China and other Asian countries to join the trade pact after US President Donald Trump walked out on the agreement. China has played a stabilizing role from global trade to climate change amid a turbulent start by Trump, whose first week in office has been marked by a series of worldwide protests. Melissa Gaviro, EMTV World News.
National EMTV News will be back with Trukai Sports after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The 7th PNG Games in West New Britain is now deferred to the end of this year. This comes after a PNG Games Council meeting yesterday, where host organising committee Vice Daka Wagai presented the current status of the preparations.
While announcing the second deferral of the PNG Games, a disappointed Sports Minister Justin Chichenko said after deliberation the Council has decided the Games will be played at the end of this year, as it is impossible to fast-track preparations due to a number of factors. Firstly, the weather condition, more specifically the rain in Kimbe at this time of the year, has not permitted progress in the construction of the remaining 10% of the infrastructure. Secondly, only 50% confirmation of readiness and participation from other provinces. And the contractor Nivani Limited's demand to be paid a full 100% before the Games infrastructure completion. Though the minister is not so happy with the demand, as of the 23 million kina payment, only 1.3 million is yet to be paid by the government.
90%. That's why the contractor has to get his act together. The HOC committee are bending over backwards to ensure that he is paid for all his work that he's done and whatever variations have come up during that time. But, you know, it's a team effort here. We work together. We don't work in isolation. You look after us, we look after you.
The minister reiterated that there is money available for that payment, but the completion phase has to be done first. With only 10% of work yet to be done, work will have to proceed through this year and be completed before November.
Well, breach, as what the contractor is claiming that we are behind payments and all this. This is normal with any government contracts. Government has procedures and processes to go by in releasing payments. But at the end of the day, you know, we will always pay. And that's exactly
which you have.
We have done. Well, though we were behind, but we have made up for all those payments, and now we are ahead of the payments.
In the meantime, HOC Deputy Chairman Daka Wagai said it is promising the Games will eventuate as they have been receiving corporate support from Kimber-based businesses such as NBPOL and Hagi Oil Palm. Dinero Sraiko, National EMTV Sports.
Minister for Sports Justin Tichenko has slammed provinces that are not ready for the PNG Games. The minister was responding to last week's story in which NCD team manager Killer Dick said his athletes and officials were not prepared to travel to the PNG Games. The minister has urged these provinces to begin thinking in the long term.
That's no excuse at all. That means they're incompetent. That means that they haven't got their act together. They've had all this time. There's no excuse. And with the deferral, they should be ever ready. They should be ready to go and beat everybody. I mean, and especially for a capital city where we have all the facilities here. So that's incompetence on their behalf. They should really get their act together. They should be the first ones having everybody ready to go to the PNG Games.
The proposed Football Federation of Papua New Guinea is looking at a more inclusive program involving more provinces and associations in the country. This was made known in a media conference yesterday, despite statements by National Soccer League competition manager Simon Koima for dialogue with football team Hikari after being ousted by the OFC.
I can't give you anything.
The announcement by Kapinato to an extent solidifies his resolve for a separate direction from the one that is in place by the PNG Football Association, and is one that he has seriously considered, taking into account the type of support that he already has garnered from various members throughout the nation.
For your information, I'm leaving for Medang this weekend. I've been invited by Medang President and all the guys from Karkar and Bokia and every place, because they want to feel football. They want to see football come down to them. So in that way, I'm traveling up this weekend to Bogia, and then I'm invited to Kokopo to meet with the NGI conferences.
Whilst media reports had stated earlier this week that an olive branch had been extended by the National Soccer League, Kapinato is adamant that the steps that he has taken are for the benefit of football in PNG.
I wish there was a lot of people so that they could really understand the motive or the purpose behind what we are really doing.
The proposed Football Federation of Papua New Guinea is structured around regional bodies now taking control of their own affairs and offers a far more democratic approach to their decision-making process.
You've given to me, vested on me, we will pursue this. We're not going to bow down. And I know I'm taking all the shots. I'm taking all the arrows for what is happening. I lost everything, football club, everything's gone. And I will stand for what is right and what is truth.
Almost 12 associations have expressed interest in joining FFPNG, and many of these have been disgruntled at the manner in which football has been dealt with over the years. Jeremy Moggy, National TV Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. The PNG government remains committed in its decision to assist Tonga with preparations to host the 2019 Pacific Games. With the elections nearing, Sports Minister Justin Tichenko said the commitment at the moment was domestic. However, the government has set aside 49 million kina to assist the island nation.
Now it's just up to the Prime Minister to make a decision on what we can assist. And, you know, I mean, we've got a lot of pressing issues in our country, and there's a lot more priorities than building stadiums in Tonga. So this is, of course, everything will have to be considered first before we look at what we can do for Tonga.
To athletics, the second part of the Nitro Athletics Series ended in disgrace in Melbourne yesterday after referee error awarded the Australian team top ranking for the night by mistake, leaving headline athlete Usain Bolt fuming. In the final 4x100 meters relay event at Lakeside Stadium, Australia was disqualified for a botched baton change, and Bolt's All-Stars won the race comfortably.
Despite the error, the hosts were awarded points that would see them finish at the top of the podium in the expense of the Jamaican team. The mishaps was eventually corrected, awarding the night to the All-Stars, but not before the live broadcaster had finished and most of the crowd of 6,500 spectators, including IAAF President Sebastian Coe. Bolt, who ran the third leg of the relay, was left in disbelief.
You're quite confident that they ran out the box.
Yeah, I could see the yellow line. I've been doing track and field for years. I know track and field is there's two yellow lines. There's one at the start and one at the end of the box. And he was clearly outside of the yellow line.
So we can see you on the big screen.
Look, here's the last line. That's it. Out. That's it. It's over. Cancel Christmas.
Well, that's Fabrice Lapierre, who's one of the greatest long jumpers Australia's ever had, and he was really keen to run against you, so he'll be quite flat with that.
Yeah, that's why he ran out too quick. He was keen to run against me, but I was too far ahead. So.
According to the event organizers, the error was with the Australian referee. The 8-time Olympian was paid a 7-figure appearance fee to commit to all 3 meetings of the series in Melbourne. The scoring error occurred during the women's mile elimination race that had one of the runners leave the track and was knocked out for crossing the line, last behind other runners. Bolt ran in the relays in the opening 2 nights of the series. However, the 8-time Olympic gold medalist could run in 150-meter sprint in the final series tomorrow. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Chukai Sports. Up next, the weather details for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
Looking at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region, mostly fine and sunny in Port Moresby, fine in Daru, mostly fine in Kerema, Popondetta and Alotau. In the Mamasi region, cloudy in Lae, a shower or 2 in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokopo and Rabaul, cloudy in Kimbe and a shower or 2 in Buka. And in the Highlands region, fine in Mount Hagen, mostly fine in Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Forecast for small ships for the next 24 hours, strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerema, to Yule Island, to Hood Point, to all Milne Bay Islands. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerema, to Yule Island, to Hood Point, to Samaria Island and waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 2 to 3 meters. Waters northwest of Samaria Island to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, waters of Finschhafen through Vitia Strait, CSE Islands to Long Island and waters of New Island to New Britain, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Long Island to Medang, to Bogia, to Wewak, to Aitape to Vanimo, to northern PNG Indonesian border and waters of Bougainville to Manus and its western group of islands, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Ocean forecast for PNG areas in the Coral Sea. Seas rough with northwest to southwest winds at 25 to 34 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas light with northwest winds at 10 to 15 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas moderate with west to northwest winds at 15 to 25 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas light to moderate with northeast to northwest winds at 10 to 20 knots.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield, with doing with Dulux.
And that's the way it is this Friday, 10th February 2017. On behalf of the entire news team, enjoy your weekend. Good night.